don't know a lot about brandy.
I'm not sure that I know anything about it. Old people drink brandy.
When I think of brandy, I think of fancy. I think of kind of a dessert drink. I think of men smoking cigars, drinking brandy, kind of like on the Titanic after dinner.
An old man with a pipe and a smoking jacket.
Victorian England, and how that was the drink of choice for after dinner kind of activities.
The Dowager Countess on Downton Abbey drinks brandy.
Leather chairs and like bookshelf lined walls.
Old recliner chairs of like a fireplace, and like some like older man like slowly sipping his like iced brandy.
Just like a smoky, dim lit place or something a little more old timey.
I think of really dark bars and books and men in suits.
Where I work, we don't serve it. I've worked at places that do serve it and don't serve it properly. I think it should be in a heated glass, for example.
I know it's a brown spirit.
I know it's a beautiful color.
I don't tend to lean towards darker liquors.
Some people assume that's just for sipping, or it's just for an older clientele.
Someone who orders it usually likes most other dark liquors.
I would definitely say an older customer would order that, or someone ordering a sidecar.
Makes me think of Fraser, like brandy or sherry or port.
I've never really met anyone my age or below 30 that has ever drank brandy. I honestly don't even remember seeing it on a menu in a bar or a club.
A little cross between like a vodka and a tequila almost.
If anyone gets the same reaction that I did, it's sort of, wow, that's very interesting. I've never smelt anything like that before. I've never tasted anything like that before.
I put it in the same bucket as I put like mezcal.
It's kind of like a mixture of rum and tequila.
Probably just is the same clean taste. I think it probably is comparable to some nicer tequilas, but has a little more of that sweetness to it, which I quite like.
It almost is more like rum in terms of how it's sort of smooth and then you feel it, as opposed to like whiskey or something where you feel it almost immediately.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think I would associate it with any other liquors.
In a way, it sort of reminds me of gin, but in a different way.
It almost reminds me of like a tequila when it's like a mild tequila, not like a mezcal or anything really smoky, but yeah.
And lastly, 2, would you ever associate this spirit with brandy? Please explain your answer.
No. I've never had brandy, but I've heard that brandy's super sweet, and I would not classify this as sweet.
Yeah, I don't
whatsoever.
think about this as brandy, not at all.
If this is a brandy and I've been saying it's mezcal this whole time, I'm going to feel very embarrassed.
I would not associate this spirit with brandy. First, because of the color, I always associated brandy with a more brown colored liquid. It definitely resonates more with a tequila than a brandy.
No, I would not associate this with brandy.
That would be down near the bottom of the things I would probably associate it with.
And this, like I said, this kind of feels like it's in its own sort of field.
I definitely would not associate it with brandy, mostly because I don't think I've ever tasted brandy. Also, I was under the impression that brandy had more of a brown color and was closer to a wine.
You don't think brandy's sweet?
No, I'm saying I wouldn't equate this to brandy. I'm curious why you guys asked that, though. Is this brandy?
The taste isn't really brandy. I don't know brandy that much, but that's not the cues I'm getting.